So you've just woken up and you feel like you know the truth. You feel like you understand what is really going on around you. You know that you're a being with much better potential and you can do far more better things than what you're doing right now. But let me ask you this. If you're aware of all these things, if you know so much of this information, then why is your life still at the same position that it is right now? Why have you not yet implemented what it is that you know, what it is that you're aware of? Waking up isn't enough. Otherwise, you're just a conscious being still stuck in the same cage. Waking up is the first step, but it is not the step that automatically changes your whole life. You don't just wake up and, oh, I've woken up, I've woken up from the dream and, I was sleeping and this whole time I didn't know all these things have been happening. And now, I'm this woke person. Hey guys, I'm a woke guy. I know things that you don't know. And no, it doesn't work like that. You need to implement the things that you know. You need to implement the information that you have. So the problem is many people wake up, right, in quotes, and what is actually waking up? Waking up is basically attaining a certain level of knowledge, which makes you realize that the world works differently from what you've been told as a child or growing up. So many people attain this levels of knowledge and they're like, okay, so I know certain things. And now they're like, they suddenly feel like they're better than everyone else. I'm sure you've also been in this certain position. I have myself, where I felt like I had attained this specific knowledge, certain type of knowledge. I knew things that other people didn't know, and I was going around preaching like this master guy, this guy who knows all this shit, all this stuff. But I wasn't really able to implement the stuff that I was preaching about. I didn't, I wasn't using it. I didn't know how I needed to be with that information. I didn't know what to do with that information to better myself for my own self-improvement. Why? Because I didn't know myself. So self-awareness is the important topic of this video. So what is self-awareness then? Self-awareness is understanding yourself from another perspective, from a third point of view, pretending like you're not yourself, but you are yourself, and looking at yourself as something else, as awareness itself. Understanding what you do on a day-to-day basis, your behaviors, the way you speak, the way you move, what you do, and knowing yourself. How does this process then help you? Self-awareness is the fundamental. It's the fundamental aspect of actually growing. You need to know what you are in order to know that you need to grow, right? It's like a balloon. You can't pump a balloon unless you know the balloon. What if the balloon has a hole in it and you're trying to pump the balloon and nothing is happening, the air is just coming out? So unless you know what it's a silly analogy, but unless you know the balloon fully, then you are able to pump the balloon and let the balloon grow. Same with yourself. Until you really know yourself and what you're capable of through understanding your behaviors, your actions, what you do, what triggers you, then that's when you can say, okay, cool. So I know XYZ and I can make a change about XYZ in order to improve myself or to make a change or a difference about myself. So self-awareness potentially makes you better at making decisions because you know yourself. So you can choose what is better for yourself. If somebody asks you, what would you like to eat tonight? You can make a decision right there and there because you know what you would like to eat that specific night. I'm sure you've seen occasions where people are like, I don't know, what do I want to eat tonight? I don't know what I want to eat. It's because you don't know what you want to eat. You don't know what yourself would want to eat, what you preferably like to have. Same thing with the world. What would you like to experience right now? You don't know. So if you don't know what you would like to experience right now, then the world is just going to give you whatever it has. The restaurant is going to give you whatever it has, right? And in this case, you are the chef of your life. You are the one that's creating the experiences in your life. And if you don't know what you want with your life, you're just going to continue living the same way that you have been living, based off of the information you've been given from people, based off of the information you've learned from an early age, from when you were a child. That's what's going to happen. That is how you're going to grow, or that is how you're going to move forward with your life, based off of that information. And that essentially is what people refer to as sleeping. You're moving around with the wind of the voices of other people. If someone says, go move to Australia, for example, and people are talking about Australia, you're just going to go there like the wind. You're not going to bother checking if Australia is a good match for you, if they have the food that you like, because you don't even know the food that you potentially like. Essentially, you are still sleeping because you do not know yourself, and you're not giving yourself what you would like for yourself. So once you become self-aware and you know yourself, it's easy for you to create goals for yourself. It's easy for you to create a plan, a purpose, for you to understand your purpose. You know that, okay, here's me, for example, I am a speaker, I am a musician, so I make music. I make music with my life. That's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I work with music and I speak. I speak on camera, I speak with you, individuals, and that's what I know about myself. I can create a game plan. One of them is to talk to you about the things that I learn, right? For example, I've learned about self-awareness. I've learned that self-awareness is important, and I can speak it out. I can share it with you so that you can also learn that self-awareness is essentially important. That is a live example of a being that understands self-awareness to a certain extent and is applying it. So you need to understand yourself. You need to be self-aware in order to create your goals, your dreams, your purpose, your path, what you're destined to be. You create your own fate. And if you create your own fate, then you must understand the fate that you're creating it for. Who are you creating that fate for? Who is that individual? Who are you? Understand who you are. Understand what you need to do for yourself and why it is that you need to do that. So now, how do you become self-aware? What is the process that's required of you to become self-aware? In order to become self-aware, you need to ask yourself the right questions. Who am I? Where do I come from? And just answer it. Create anything out of your own mind, because you are the one who's going to identify that question. You are the one that's going to identify yourself and say, I am this. It's your choice, because you are asking you. If somebody else asked you, who are you? You would give them an answer. So ask yourself, who are you? And answer that. Why do I react this way? Why do I behave this way? What do I want with this life that I have right now? Where am I? What is all this? What is this life? Ask yourself these type of questions so that you're aware and you understand, okay, so I am this conscious being walking around this country, and I want to do this while I'm in this country, doing that, walking this type of way, and already you have goals and a purpose. So if your goal is to walk a certain type of way, then you have a game plan, an action plan of how you can walk that literal type of way. Another thing is journaling. Journaling your thoughts can help you understand yourself. Literally in the moment when you're writing down what you've gone through throughout the day, or what you thought about, or what you're thinking about in that moment in time, you're listening to that, you're writing it down and listening to those thoughts and bringing it out and reading it back to yourself. So this is a certain type of magic that can be absolutely useful for you, for your consciousness, for your subconscious, your whole being, your whole self. Because when you read it back again, you'll be reading it from a different perspective. You'll be understanding yourself from a different perspective. Another one is self-talk, especially in the mirror. Looking at yourself in the mirror, talking to yourself, speaking to yourself, asking yourself those kind of questions. Who am I? And looking at the person and answering those questions like you're a third person. It's not crazy talk. It is absolutely useful. You are simply understanding who you are. Another important thing is understanding your triggers, understanding what changes your emotional state. What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What makes you angry? What triggers you and why does it trigger you? Understand these things for yourself and it can help you. You might find yourself to be an easily annoyed person, an easily irritated person. If you are able to figure out what irritates you and why that irritates you, then you will understand yourself more than anyone else. Don't you just find certain people in life who just irritate you, who just know how to irritate you? Don't you think that they know how to irritate you? Like, I literally just said that, but don't you think that they have an understanding of what makes you tick? But you don't. You don't know what pisses you off, but they do. And they do it on purpose. Some of them, of course, they do it on purpose just to piss you off. Now, if you're in a state or position where you are aware of what pisses you off and what annoys you, then you can counter that and realize, so this person knows exactly what annoys me and they are trying to press my buttons. Let me set a boundary for them, or get rid of them, or not react to what they're saying. You can play the game like that. You can play life like that. You can work with people like that. Once you know yourself, of course. Another important thing is being mindful. Being mindful, sitting down with yourself at the end of the day or the first thing in the morning, just listening to your thoughts, listening what is running all over your brain. I need to take out the trash. I need to take out the trash. I need to take out the trash. Once you realize you need to take out the trash, and once you see that thought always coming up, you can act on it. You can realize that, okay, so this is something important that's been bugging me and I need to do it. Now, understanding yourself, these thoughts, journaling, putting them all out there. When you journal, when you speak to yourself, you're taking yourself out into the real world and witnessing it in first person. You're not waiting for somebody to come and speak to you. You're not waiting for somebody to tell you to write a composition or a book or something about something in order for you to understand that. You are implementing that on your own, speaking to yourself, understanding yourself, speaking to yourself more than anyone else is going to speak to you. And that is how you build self-awareness. Now, once you build self-awareness, you stop living on autopilot. You stop, just walking around like a zombie, like you're sleeping, right? And you begin to understand yourself and you start to make conscious decisions. You start to choose what you want for yourself. If your parents had always said, you love lobster, right? For example, I love giving examples. If your parents had told you that from early and you never sat down and asked yourself if you really love lobster, then you're just living on autopilot, because that is ringing left, right, center. You love lobster, you love lobster. But do you really love lobster? Have you asked yourself if you love eating lobster? And if you haven't, then you might not even know. Question yourself. Do I like going out and enjoying the sun? Do I? Do I like going out and enjoying the cold? Do I actually like British weather, for example? Do I really hate it? Or is it because people say British weather is not nice, then I don't like it? Or am I just following what people say? Am I sleeping, right? When you ask yourself more questions, when you become more self-aware, you can make more conscious decisions about yourself, and you can truly wake up to reality, wake up to yourself. Otherwise, you just become this human being full of notes and books and conspiracy theories and different videos and TikToks filled in your head. When you watch this video, ask yourself, do I actually find this information useful? And if you do, use it. If you don't, then you don't. If you don't, please do also put in the comment section why you don't feel like it's useful. And if you do as well, put it in the comment section as well, because this helps with the algorithm. It helps everybody also be in touch, and it builds a community in the comment section. But yeah, long story short, know yourself and create a life for yourself. That is being awake. Now you have truly woken up once you know yourself. By the way, I have created a Patreon where you can access certain information. I'm going to be posting a guide on how you can also further know yourself, what kind of questions you can ask yourself, tasks, like day-to-day tasks that you can do in order to further and further know yourself, so that you can be more conscious and more awake. Please, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like in the comment section, right? Put a comment down below of what you learned about self-awareness, of what you learned about being woke, being awake, and visit my Patreon as well for further information, further guidance. I also have vocal affirmations there that you can listen to with great music that can put you in a certain mood or zone, or even self-awareness questions as well, which I'll be posting later in the future, that you can listen to help you become more self-aware. When those questions come up, you actually answer them and you know what it is that you need to know. So remember, know yourself. Like, share, subscribe. Never be afraid to be too manly. Peace.